hunger inside all of us. This longing to awaken our truest selves. This hunger to feel truly free. This desire for love, truth, and freedom has driven us to never stop searching. We are a family. These are our stories, our questions, and our passions. So welcome to the conversation. Welcome to somewhere in the in-between.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Welcome back to a new setting. Green screen behind us has changed.
A new day, a new dawn,
a new era,
a new moment.
of life.
You're such a poet.
Welcome.
Welcome.
We spent a lot of time on this light switch back there. That was
And for those listening,
very
like,
implemented.
we don't know what you're talking about.
Well, we have new voices for those just listening to the podcast. But for any of you that were on social media, what was it, last week? Yeah. We put a little thing out there because we said we wanted to open this conversation up to everyone. Yeah. And, as of now, it's just been us kind of talking about where we're at, kind of getting used to our voice. But what we wanted to do is like we said, we want to open up these conversations to people because I want to hear where people are at. I want to hear what people are going through. I want to not just talk, but like experience life with everybody that's listening and everything. And so we put a thing out on Instagram last week and we said, if you guys can ask us anything, what would it be? And so we got so many amazing questions from people, which I'm pretty excited about. Yeah. So many so that we actually can only answer a handful today, but actually some of them are so great and kind of in the same vein that probably next week or the next few weeks, we're actually going to do entire podcasts around those themes.
Because there was a lot of themes that were very similar.
Like a lot of themes just about me personally. And so like
how do you get your hair so blonde?
How do you do it?
So we're going to do a 2-hour podcast.
Just about me.
About blonde
me,
hair.
Lauren, the girl talking.
Each individual hair curl.
Yes. And so we're probably...
Doesn't this sound exciting?
That's honestly going to be the majority of like the way that we're going to be moving into this next.
That's the direction we're taking this whole podcast.
Because I am the one in the in-between of the two of you. And so it's going to be about me.
Oh, wow. Because you are somewhere in the in-between.
It's what they've all been asking for.
Absolutely. I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm announcing this is my last one.
But like our one of our last podcasts that was about like loving me, even if you don't agree with what we're going to talk about.
She didn't listen to that one.
Did you not listen to what we said? You should probably do that. So that's your homework.
So anyway,
question time.
We are going to dive into some questions.
Let's do it.
Let's see.
I'm all about it.
Let's see what
I'm pretty excited because there's some deep ones, there's some funny ones, there's it's all over the place. So guys, here we go.
Here are your questions.
Yeah.
I was going to say in real time, but it's not in real time. I don't know why that was going to come out of my mouth.
But like it sounded cool. So keep it up.
Alyssa time. Okay. So I like this one. It says, introduce yourself so we know who's talking. Alyssa and Lauren, we know you are sisters. Yep. But who else is talking? I don't know what you mean by that question.
Like, I don't understand either because as far as I know, it's just the two of us.
Yeah. Is there a third person in this podcast?
Is there a ghost?
Because we did hear there was something haunting us.
We've had a ginger pale ghost that has haunted us our entire life. So if you see her...
Seriously, write in if you see her.
Oh my God.
Or hear her.
Yeah. God. No. So yes, Lauren and I are sisters.
My voice.
Who is speaking?
Here's the deal. Here's how you know who Sarah is. It's the one that's calm. Lauren and I are like,
it's
so
true.
Freaking high strung.
It's so
and Sarah's
true.
like, hello, world.
Like when a voice chimes in that like all of a sudden takes you away to like a really zen place.
If you like picture like being on the beach and you're like super calm, it's Sarah. If you feel like you need medication because you're so high strung,
that's definitely me, Lauren.
And I.
No, mainly me. I have been watching our podcast and I'm like, oh girl, you got to calm down. Cause I'm like, Yeah.
Here's the deal. We
But you're a Leo. You're
I
so
know.
that's so your
I
energy.
know, but I'm also like an acquired taste. And so
Also,
like,
I feel like we did 10 years of rock shows.
I know.
So we're like, are y'all ready? But in a podcast,
doesn't
no one wants
translate.
that.
Doesn't translate.
I mean, I'm going to like jump off the couch and kick that over.
Right, like kick the like it's just a whole thing.
No.
So if you are Zen,
Yeah.
that's Sarah.
That's Sarah, and Sarah's
If
our cousin.
You're anxious, it's most likely me, Lauren. And if you're like, I am inspired to lead, that's Alyssa.
I like the description of me.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Thank you for not giving a good description of me. So there you go.
I think I like your voice though. It's so bold. It's something that like I feel like everyone has their different unique thing, and maybe between you and I, Alyssa's the little.
I'm the somewhere in the in between.
It is, but I just feel like I'm so like you just come in with your wisdom. I'm like, "Rah! Feelings and emotions. And then you're like, and I learned from this psychologist.
And everyone listening is like, we just spent 10 minutes on that question.
It was a great question.
Wow, that took way too long.
Or did it? Okay.
Next question. If you
Yeah.
could travel anywhere, where would you go?
Away from this podcast. Just kidding. Anywhere.
Anywhere.
Anywhere. You know what? Like, honestly, anywhere in Europe. We're all in lockdown, guys.
I would definitely say Europe.
It's
for sure.
It's bothering me. Like, I want to go to the Actually, I really want to go to Scotland. That's like next on my list. Never been to Scotland. Scotland's on the list. You're thinking too hard.
I am thinking. I'm like, I would travel to the homes of the people who hate me.
Oh my god.
And,
Oh my god.
and just be like, hey,
Haunt them.
it's me. And burn their house down.
Wow. Someone's got a real dark vibe over here. These questions are not bringing the best out of her.
No, Europe.
Or just Europe.
It's a real toss-up.
I got 2 speeds today, guys. 2 speeds. Get ready.
Yeah, I would definitely say like France, or I haven't been to Italy, so definitely somewhere like that.
You need to go there.
Yeah.
Italy is one of my favorite places, so you have to go.
So that you know me more.
Okay, what was the best time of your life?
I just have jokes that play in my head.
I
that
do too,
don't
which is
wanna
why I
say.
think it takes me a moment, because I'm like, do I go the sarcastic route?
Always the
Or is it
sarcastic
like,
route.
do I need to be serious?
No.
Oh my god.
Best time of your life.
Honestly, we have a really big family.
Yeah.
And so anytime we would, like, all of us, there's like 14 of us with the kids and my brother and sister-in-law, my sister, parents, us, family vacation. I love family vacations anywhere. Like, that's always been my favorite. So that's probably like the best times I would have is
Like on the beach in Florida with my nieces and nephew, just carefree. Those are my favorite moments.
Yes.
Yeah.
or anytime I'm in Rome. Full circle back to Italy.
Yeah, I would say France for me was amazing. It was so perfect, or Paris. But I thought you were saying that our dad's families, like the times those like most amazing times of just everyone gathering together and singing and sitting around fires or, hotel lobbies or whatever back in the day and all that. Oh my God, it's so magical.
No, that wasn't it for me.
That's nice.
That's sweet. No, I do love that. I do.
so
I do.
good.
How was Lauren's dog?
Lauren's dog is great. For any of you who don't know who that is, Penny Lane, she was, I think people know of her because, well, one, I post about her all the time, but then in our old video logs, Penny Lane was my dog. She's 14 now. She's amazing. She's wonderful. She's not here, so I can't show her
Like
to
she
you.
should sometimes just be, sitting on the couch.
Yeah, she could be our little
Just a little-
mascot. She's adorable and perfect and wonderful and everything good in the world. So that's how good she's doing. Yeah,
Described to me that way.
not at all.
We got a lot of where is Becca questions, and why isn't Becca in this podcast with you?
So for those of you who don't know who Becca is our sister.
Yes.
She was in Barlow Girl with us, which is why I think a lot of people are asking. So you did Barlow Girl together. Why are you doing this together? But if you didn't know, this is Becca.
Yeah.
She just got paler and dyed her hair.
Pale. Do you need to tell her something?
Well, I'm pale too, so I like, you spot it, you got it. You know what I'm
They've been
saying?
trying to get me to tan all week, so
Right.
this is now my.
This is Becca.
This podcast is brought to you by a tanning bed near you.
But Becca, you know, we were so lucky as sisters to be able to have a dream together like that. The fact that we all had the same dream and that we got to do Barlow Girl together. It was so much fun. And, you know, not every dream is always going to be together. And, you know, Becca is living her life right now and super happy.
living her dream
And she's
and-
living her dream. And Alyssa and I are living ours.
Yeah, and it just
so
happens to be the same dream
Yeah.
again. But yeah.
so that's why she's
that
not
is
doing
why-
this, is
that is
because
why.
this is our dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is our dream.
You can't be a part of it. Neither can you.
Oh, I like this. Okay,
Yeah.
for all three of us. Because Sarah, you're in the entertainment industry, we're in the entertainment industry. So what is your advice for someone wanting to get into the entertainment industry?
Girl.
Don't.
The end. Don't.
I would say it's definitely not made for everybody.
Oh, no.
Because if you're going into it with wrong intentions, or you're glamorized by the light or the fame or anything like that, it's such a facade.
Yeah.
And it's so, there's nothing to it beyond you know, some excitement and all that. But it was so interesting that the times that were the biggest for me, as far as, you know, whether it was the people that I was hanging out with or the recognition that I was getting, it never hit. It literally never hit. I was like, whoa, this is not what I would have expected it to feel like. And
never hit like...
it just didn't feel like it was like this, like, oh my God, like, look at me, you know, like, it was just like very, it was like any other
almost
photo
out
shoot.
there, kind of.
Yeah.
Not-
It didn't feel real in a way. And so even in that, like, I think we think these different things are going to make us feel a certain way.
There's definitely
And-
a big illusion around if I get
yeah.
there, I'm going to feel X,
Yeah.
Y, and Z.
And it just doesn't, when you're actually in the moment, it kind of feels like almost every other moment.
It feels,
You know?
Yeah, like, yeah.
And
I love that perspective on it because it is so glamorized. It's going like, if I'm just famous in the entertainment industry, if I'm just doing this, then I'll feel
Because it's so hyped up in the
something.
media.
Right.
As this big, like, if we could all get there, we're going to finally feel better about ourselves, or like we've arrived. That it's almost like the standard now for the greats.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it just, like, it doesn't get you any more real friends. If anything, it's all of a sudden you have to question a lot of people, being like, why all of a sudden are they coming out of the woodwork? I haven't heard from them in 10 years, you know? And, you know, there's just a level of, like, having to look over situations a little bit more challenge, like with a challenge, being like, is this real, or is this just, is someone trying to use me now? And that does come into play a lot. And so there's just, there's something to you. It's just a different world, and it's definitely not what it looks like from the outside at all. And it also could really, it puts a lot of pressure on you, more than you would expect. And for me, I leaned more into having than to control things because of what I perceived everyone else thinking that I needed to, like, look like. And so I tried to keep it looking like that, you know, and it can make you sick, you know?
I think you need to make sure you know if it's like a legit long-term passion, like if you're wired for it, or if it's something that you've so over glamorized in your mind that you can't maybe see your true path.
Right.
Because that's the path that's going to give you recognition. That's the path that's going to give you, you know, I'm quoting this, like it's you know, that's the path that's going to make you feel great about your life. And I think if you know that one, you're wired for it, it's your passion, it's a lot of hard work. I mean, it is a lot of work to sustain it, and to keep up that kind of pace. It's a really fast-paced life. Yeah. The industry is very fast-paced, and I think You gotta go into it with your eyes open.
Yeah.
And
I think knowing there's a difference between just wanting it to be famous or wanting it because it's actually inside of you as a calling. Yes. And I think when it's actually like, I know I was called for this moment to pursue this. Yeah. And when it becomes this passion, not just because I want recognition, because if you're going in it for recognition, that's not longevity. No, that's not, it'll never be
the
good enough.
The moment you get a pushback,
right.
and you will.
Oh my gosh.
Of people being like, you're horrible, you're disgusting,
right.
I hate you.
Right.
Like, you're going to crumble. You got to be ready for those moments.
And so even when we went into Barlow Girl, because it was a passion, it was like I would do it for no one. I would do it because I was so alive to it. I would do it because there was the passion about things we wanted to speak about and do. The calling, the passion, all of that was enough. And the fame, if you will, was just the cherry on top. It wasn't the whole cake. It wasn't the whole meal.
I could not agree to that more.
Right?
I really do think that.
Her leg now has something.
Still learning how to use a microphone.
It's difficult.
Again, you got to know it's your calling, honey.
This is how I knew it wasn't. I think it's exactly what you're saying. It's not about maybe even looking at the numbers. It's about what am I actually doing?
Yes.
It's about that versus I think a lot of times it's almost it doesn't even flow if you're just about the numbers.
Right.
Like it just can almost end up failing a lot of times.
Well, and you had a good point. You said it needs to be something you would do without any recognition. The way you know something is your calling, your destiny, your passion, call it what you will, is that you would do that. It's like inside of you and you're going to burst if you don't do it, and you don't need anyone to be applauding you for it. Right. And that's how you know that's your path. Yeah. So if all you can picture, when you're thinking about it is like, oh my gosh, I just see people applauding for me. Well, that's probably an indicator that maybe you need to do some inner work of maybe I'm not feeling very good about myself.
I'm not feeling valuable.
So I look at that platform and think, wow, I would love to have people applauding me like that.
I'll finally feel good about myself at that point.
And so,
don't use fame to feel good about yourself. Yeah. Don't use the longing for being in the entertainment, because it's the exact opposite. Yeah. Yes. You're going to get the exact opposite feeling. Even when people are applauding for you.
It only gets magnified at that point. That feeling will only then, Yeah.
So make sure it's a passion. Make sure you are alive to it and you want to give all that you are to it. Yeah. And then when you just follow the steps that come and you follow the steps and are kind of obedient to your path, you'll notice things open up for you.
Well, the road really does rise up to meet you as you're walking on the path. And that doesn't mean it's not hard. That doesn't mean that there's not trials and difficulties and things you have to kind of push through. But when we just all started stepping out in our gifting and just working on our gifts, and, for Sarah it was photography, and, for us it was music, it was just one door started to open after another. And it was just kind of like it was all there, when really our goal was just the art itself. Right. The goal was, for us, even before Barlow Girl, the goal was the message. The goal was feeling passionate about putting lyrics down and kind of creating an experience. And my gosh, it's funny, before when we started doing music, I remember going, I love doing music. I love being a part of this, but and I told the girls, I was like, I never want to get signed, and I never want to play for a room of more than 100 people. Like, that's just, I liked it small. I liked it intimate. And I don't know, that was just a big passion for me. And that's, to me, kind of how it's a passion. Yeah. And so getting signed and doing the whole, recording deal and then not just playing to a room of 100, like it was then becoming, thousands, and you just go, oh, it still is about the gift. But in my mind, I liked the feeling of, I liked it small. And so for me, I think that's how you really know something is, you were designed to release it. Right. Is that you're fine if it stays small. You don't need you don't need the applause.
Yeah, I have the exact same scenario, because right when we just started shooting more big names and all of that, I actually didn't even want to post about it. Yeah. I had someone actually tell me, Sarah, you're being dumb. You still are running. You're running a company. Like, at some point, you do need to make money, and like
you might want to advertise what you're doing.
Yeah, because I just was so, I'm like, no, I want to be this like underground thing that all of a sudden they like land on my website and they're like, whoa, she shot that. I would never have known. I wanted to be that.
We never knew.
And I didn't post about stuff for the first several months of like the stuff that we were doing, and people would be seeing it all over and not on mine, and they'd be like, what's going on?
I think I remember walking into a clothing store and being like, Lauren, isn't that Sarah's shot? Because like I didn't realize you had shot it for that store. I think it was, I don't know if I could say it.
I can't say any names.
Okay.
We just got to be really careful.
But
Walmart.
And then we're gonna like bleep that out and put something else over so no one can hear it.
But I walked in and I was like, I think I saw that on her computer. Like you weren't even you weren't even telling us half the time, And so I think again, that's how the gift is just something that's kind of it is important to you. Yeah. The gift is important.
Right.
And yeah.
And even I think being surrounded by the people that all of us have been surrounded by, but for me because I do photography, and there's a lot of people that always need photography around me, that their careers could help propel my career. I think even just growing up, being as young as I was when you guys were, on your incline, that I was so surrounded by so many people who were users and even wanted to get to me to get to you guys and all that. And so seeing that, it gave me such a distaste to anybody who would be that way, who would be kind of like, oh, I've got to, use this situation or something. And so I was always
swung the other way.
I really swung the other way. Sure. Anyone that I was around that maybe, other people were like, Sarah, have you shot that person yet? I'd be like, no. And they actually don't even know I'm a photographer. Mm-hmm. Like I would literally talk about anything else other than my work. I would never hint at it, nothing, because I just was like, I'm not using any of these scenarios, never. And it's just, I think that, it feels like gross or something.
Well,
like
I never
that
wanted
me,
to get into that part of the industry either.
Yeah.
And because I think there's such an urgency to self-promote and I think that's fine for some people, but I'm so not wired like that. So like people would always be like, you got to hand out your demos and you got to whatever. And we never promoted. We never handed out a demo. I mean, we got signed without ever actually promoting ourselves. Mm-hmm. And again, I actually believe if you are meant to be on that path, it will happen as you just are faithful to your passion and your gift.
Because if you look at our story, it was impossible that we got signed because we didn't hand out demos. We played 7 shows, but our goal was just being obedient to the path. Mm-hmm. And then, if a door opened, we did it. And literally we ended up in a competition with record labels.
We didn't know it was a competition. We thought it was training.
It was like, they were going to critique you and be like, you're the worst. And some of them said that. But one of them went, but I'm going to sign them.
Actually, a few of them. It's funny. We learned early on that
people aren't nice. Just kidding.
No, but we were in this, which, like we said, ended up being a competition, and we thought it was just training. And so it was a bunch of different people in the industry and whatever. And there was a few notes that I guess were so intensely mean, cruel. Like it wasn't just like, hey, work on this. But I guess it was so mean that, and my parents were with us at the time because you were 16?
Yeah.
So, we were young. So our parents were traveling with us and whatever. And they had gotten the notes from the judges first. And they were like, well, we're going to give you one note. Which was the one label executive that was like, we're meeting. I'm very interested in signing you. Like it was a developmental deal and whatever. And they're like, and we're like, what'd you do with the other ones? I can't wait to see, what we need to work on. They're like, oh, we're burning those.
Like, not because they were easy on us. Like, they were really hard
my
on
parents are
us.
tough
Like,
on us.
with Dad being a musician, you know, like, it's like there was a high expectation for us, but they're like, you don't need to see those kinds of things.
There's a
you
difference
know?
betwent constructive criticism and straight up judgment.
and being mean.
Being, like, rude about
Yeah.
it.
They were like,
Right.
this is actually just straight up mean.
Yeah.
So it was funny. We, in a moment, kind of faced the two extremes of the industry.
Yeah.
Because there are two speeds. It's like the, oh my gosh, or, oh my gosh. Like,
Wait, explain that.
my gosh, you're amazing.
Really understood.
Explain it to me. It was like, yeah, it's either the people that are like, oh my gosh, you're amazing, or, oh my gosh, I never want to see your face again.
That was
Like,
the
it's
oh my
the
gosh
two
vibe.
You didn't get that?
Catch up.
I thought I was a better actress than
Catch
this.
up.
I need to work on my character a
Right.
little bit better. Yeah.
So that's our take on the industry.
I know, right? Everyone was like, I just want to know how to
love
how to get signed. Thanks for
I
that.
just want to know how to be a photographer. We just dashed so many people's dreams.
Exactly.
No, but it's like if it's a passion,
Hey, work on your gift.
do it with all of your heart. But if you're doing it for recognition,
Pick another career.
pick another career.
100%. Or go inward.
Yeah, it's true.
All right. So, what is something you've learned this week?
This week. Probably that I don't like when people question my relationship with God on the internet.
Was that a real triggering moment?
It was a little triggering for me. I was like, what are you doing? And then I just had to breathe through it and pull out a Brene Brown book because I
Yes.
was like, oh, I need some help.
Is that your new Bible?
Yeah, it is. Wait, I thought that was the Bible. Oh my gosh, have I been reading the wrong book this whole time?
You do worship Brene Brown, though,
I
right?
do.
Yeah, she is your high place.
I see now why people are questioning
Okay.
my relationship with God now
It
that
just
you really
dawned on her.
it
Yes.
clicked. And so that was something I learned about myself.
Learned a
I
new
didn't
trigger.
know.
You didn't know.
I didn't know.
You were a student of your response.
I was, and I feel like I talked about. I'm like, you guys, let's talk about this because I need to figure this out. Why is this bothering me? And then we figured it out, and yeah. So that's what I realized about. That's what I learned this week.
I actually can't think of anything new I learned this week.
You don't learn much.
You learned how
though.
to get better.
I learned how to get better as a human.
No,
just
because you were sick.
sick.
I did. Yes.
There it
I'm
is.
like, ouch.
You learned how to not be such a drag.
Yeah. No, I was. I did have a cold all week.
You learned
So-
that a leaf cold sinus makes you jittery.
Oh my gosh, I did learn that.
But also, don't know if we should talk about this. You get carded to buy a leave cold and sinus because people make meth out of it.
I don't think we should talk about this on our podcast.
I do. I make meth.
Oh, I just didn't even.
I'm not even kidding. It took me 15 minutes for them to run
I know.
my
Oh, yeah.
driver's license. I had to get put in the system. I'm pretty sure there's someone following me
know.
from the law at this point. There's a paddy wagon outside
Ready to take you to
me
jail.
away.
If you
for
make some-
buying some Aleve cold and sinus. Yeah, it.
You know
honestly,
what?
15
if
minutes.
you are making drugs out of a leave cold and sinus, I want to encourage you to find a different job.
I don't think it's their job.
I bet it is.
That would be my job. If I was making it, I would be selling it.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
She's probably why we have to get carded.
So passionate about this.
Yes.
So that's what Alyssa learned.
All right. So, what is something about you that people would be surprised to know?
Okay.
Sarah, take it away.
I would say I love tea parties. I love going to
Explain tea party.
See, I was surprised to know that.
Same.
I collect
feel like I just found
teacups.
this out
I
a year
collect
ago.
teacups and teapots and all of that. I don't know. It's been later in my life now that in my later years.
How old are
now
you?
that I'm a grandma.
That is the other surprising thing people didn't know.
You are 84 and love tea
But
parties.
I love high tea. I love going to downtown and finding like the different places that will do high tea, and it's magical. So that's kind of my little hobby, is finding any of the places in a town that I'm in that do the best high tea.
Nice.
It's my vibe.
I love that.
So
Okay, like for me, people might be surprised. I feel like I'm kind of an open book. I feel like people know a lot of things about us just because of, Barlow Girl. I have really, really intense like textural problems. So like I like that cotton in a no, that's okay. That's an okay texture. Like the cotton in a pill bottle. Like if you're gonna take it out, like I would rather throw the pill bottle away. Than
I actually
touch
have to take the cotton
Oh my
out
gosh.
of the top of. You can't even think about it.
Really?
Oh, but she can't do it.
I'm convinced that like Satan came to Earth and was like, one invention, cotton in a pill bottle. And that's when he's like, bye. And then he left. And that was what he did. That's what he chose to
She
do.
cannot. So like cotton. So I have to take it since she was little.
Yes. Oh,
I mean, this is as far back as.
Yeah. I can't like wear socks on a carpet. So it's like that. It's that textural.
What about socks in your bed?
Oh my
No,
gosh.
no.
What
That's
a
pretty
monster.
bad. That's pretty bad. I
Monster.
can't. Yeah.
No.
If we had an old station wagon growing up, and like when the roof like the
like
roof
falls
of cars and like the texture of the roof of cars, not it's like a material.
Yeah.
If someone reached their hand up and touched the top of the roof of the car, the ceiling of the car, Lauren would go out of her mind.
If someone's hands are dry, so then it makes that noise. Like I can't even touch like tissue if my hands are dry.
What if
like,
someone's hands are dry and they just go like this over? Like you hear.
I'm
that,
okay
like,
with
fine with
this.
that.
I'm okay with that. Oh, like a
Weird.
dull pencil. I cannot write with a dull pencil. Well, who writes with pencils anymore? But like
As
dull
a kid,
pencils.
you had to sharpen your pencil
in
like
every like I would
constantly.
like write a sentence and go to the sharpener and write a sentence like in school. Oh, I can't like
texture issues are hardcore.
like it's like my hands can't be dry. I'm like have to have lotion on. Like it just. But socks on a carpet and cotton in a pill bottle brings like rage out of my soul that I didn't know. Like it's really.
I feel like you go into instant fight or flight.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. I probably should like. You'll take me through a meditation later or something because it's really hard. So that's me. That's my issue.
Mine is I have a severe issue with loud chewing. Oh my gosh. In movie theaters, I actually
like
think
someone eating a banana or something like that.
popcorn, anything.
Cereal is your like
Oh.
okay. Cereal, chips, popcorn.
No. It's anything. If I can hear you, there's a phrase that
apples.
said
Oh, you hate apples.
Anything. Somebody was chewing in a movie the other day, and I was like, "What monster would allow someone to chew in a movie on the microphone?" Like I cannot handle the sound. So if I hear someone chewing, I can't even hear the lines in a movie. No. I can't hear.
You go to a dark place.
I definitely, if I'm eating,
There's a name for it though. They've done studies on the brain, and they found that for people that have this, I don't remember the name, and so many people are going to be like, it's this. I know they're going to write in, but it was like they say a part of your brain gets, I don't know, like somehow
like
overloaded with the sounds of like a smaller sound.
Well, there's a bit of OCD in there because when like with
Your OCD.
with OCD you can kind of hyper focus on something.
Well, they said it tends to be with people who are hyper focused on the small details.
Yes, yeah.
So then if there's a smaller detail, like the sound of someone, if there's a noise in the background or like dripping or chewing or even like a sound of like, I don't know, like something small, I can't hear anything.
Oh, you know what else too? Loud breathing.
Oh, Lord.
totally.
Like,
No.
I can't. I suddenly my focus goes out the window. So somebody could have been talking to me, and I can't get there.
Yeah.
Until the chewing stops. So
I have
will
to turn
leave the
music on.
room.
I a lot of times have to turn music on. Like if I'm just sitting there at a table just with one other person, that's why I have to turn on a TV or I have to turn on music because I'm more conscious of myself. I'm just like, oof, I can hear myself chewing. I can't I can't stand
But like
it.
if we're in a movie theater now, I have to plug my ears normally for until people are done with their popcorn, or I can't hear the movie.
But now, like, because Alyssa and I, obviously, we just hang out all the time. I feel like I've inherited her issue as well because I'm so hyper-focused about the way I chew around her because I don't want to bother her. But then, like, I'll be like, you know, if we'll be with someone and then like, you know, somebody's chomping on something, we'll like be texting. I'm like, are they chomping too loud? Should I make a cup? Like, because she just goes like, it's just crazy.
can't focus.
But I've inherited it now, and now it bothers me too, and I blame her for
now
it.
I'm gonna know why you guys will be texting.
No, we
if
text
we're-
about you with other things.
I actually like if you notice if I'm really agitated, I will just get up quietly and I'll leave the room. until the person is done because I can't focus.
And that's what I'll text and be like, they're done chewing. You can come back in the room.
Like, you
That's
can
when
come
I
in now.
text. Yeah.
I mean, it's out of control,
my
but
God, that's
they say a lot of times people like that are creative people, they're musicians, they're more.
I don't know. People that have cotton ball issues are like more beautiful and like
Maybe.
wonderful.
Maybe.
Why didn't we put that on my issue?
I'm just saying, if they researched people's brains,
You're just
that
making
think
it sound
this,
like you're a regular Mozart with your issue.
I mean, maybe I am.
whatever.
Maybe I am. Okay, 2 more questions. So, why did you step away from Barlow Girl? And what have you been doing for 8 years? That is a big question.
It's a very big question.
And without getting too detailed,
Right. Let's hit the why real
why?
quick.
Why did we step
stepped
away?
So, I know we had talked about it when we first quit.
Yeah.
But we were still signed when we chose to step down.
there was no falling out.
No.
There was no issues that led up to us going, we
There
can't
was
take
no
this anymore.
issue. It's not like we're breaking up
No.
or we don't like this. Like
We were actually in the process of writing a second album.
Not second.
album. We had more than 2.
a next album.
Our next album.
We had a
and
beautiful relationship with our label.
Still
Nothing
do.
but love there. Nothing but love, even with us as sisters when we stepped away. And it was just like, I'm a firm believer in the chapters of life. And that there is a timing and a season to things. And for some reason, it felt like we did what we came to do. Yeah. And we said what we wanted to say. And it felt like there was this beautiful invitation that we collectively felt, the 3 of us girls with our sister Becca, of just going, it was like God was almost inviting us that there was more.
Something
there was
more.
this invitation to more. And I didn't know what that looked like. We didn't know what that meant. But because we felt Barlow Girl was such a really divine calling for us. Yeah. And really, we felt God led us into it. And so when we felt him maybe leading us out, we wanted to honor that just as much as we honored the leading us into it. Yeah. And to trust that, like I said, there's chapters in life, and we felt that one was just slowly kind of coming to a pause.
And there's not even, like we said, there wasn't any huge moment. It was kind of this culmination of all these kind of different thoughts and feelings as we were writing for that next album and kind of journeying to kind of launch into that next season of, I think we had a few more albums and different things. And it was just that, that feeling. You just know that feeling of it's time. And the thing that I liked about it is it showed me, because sometimes people would question and go, oh, well, you've been doing this for 10 years. Surely your identity must be wrapped up in it. Oh, I bet you could never let this go. And, and people had made those assumptions over the years. And so, I always felt in my heart, I was like, yeah, I think I hold it loosely, but like, you don't know until you know. Right. And so there was just this moment. And as we were brainstorming and we just all kind of felt like, oh my gosh, yeah, I think there's another chapter coming. Yeah. I just kept seeing there was another chapter, but to get into that chapter, I needed to be willing to let go of what I felt most comfortable and most safe in. And I felt very comfortable and safe in music. It's all we had ever done. Even before doing Barlow Girl, my gosh, all we'd ever done was music. And so letting that go without the guarantee that it would be music again, right, but knowing there was another dream, there was something else. But I knew before I'd go after another dream or an extension of that dream, I knew, kind of like we said in the first podcast, I knew I needed to do a deep dive first to deal with some stuff that I had been noticing was coming up during Barlow Girl. And again, I felt, wow, a little break would be the perfect time to kind of dive into those places, get sessions, kind of yield to the undoing, yield to the mess. When you go through undoing, it's so messy. And you don't want to do that when you're doing, 3 tours a year and you don't get that luxury. And so we just went, okay, what if we take a breather before we really launch into something new and just yield to the undoing. Because I actually feel seasons of undoing and rest are just as important as seasons of growth. Because in the midst of, it's like we were talking about this week, and we'll, dive into this in a future podcast, but there are seasons. There's summer, there's spring, there's winter, there's fall. You can't expect every season of your life to look like summer, and there was a piece of I felt we'd been living in this beautiful summer season for years. And I knew I was going to step into an aspect of a winter of it was going to be quiet. It was going to look like some things had died. It was going to be a bit of a hibernating season. We were even researching for a while, like places we could go to where you just like stay in these different places and just kind of like are silent for a week and just meditate and listen. And so we booked a lot of travel out of the country. We had never traveled outside of the country for anything other than work. And so we wanted to see
we wanted to see the world.
What would
wanted to travel?
Yeah. And so, and like I said, I don't want to get into too much of this because we'll dive into this story a lot more. I think it's a
lot.
Big
there's
story.
Just a lot.
So we step away to do that. And then the last 8 years, I experienced the highest highs and by far the lowest lows I'd ever experienced in my life. The life took some massively unexpected turns. And again, because we feel like everything's an opportunity, not to fight it, but to kind of yield to it, to go, okay, what's this here for? What can I learn? What's this unto? And so it's been 1 year after the next yielding to, oh my gosh, I had a massive injury right at the end of Arlington when we'd planned all these trips and, tore my ligament, fully detached. It was a year-long process. So we had to cancel our trips, couldn't go overseas, and, kind of actually relearning to really walk again and work out again, because once that's fully detached and going through all that healing and all that, I didn't walk normally for
it was
about a year.
Time.
I mean, I had to hold on to you for a long time. So coming out of that, and then we had a season. Our dad had a stroke right after that. So then our life turned upside down. That chaos was insane. And watching our dad,
it was a stroke where the whole left side of his body was paralyzed, and he had to relearn how to walk.
He had to relearn how to watching your dad relearn how to do basic things. And he's a guitar player his whole life. He's just finally getting this back this year, and so going through that, and then entering a season of a lot of the most intense rejection of my life, getting kicked out of some people's lives. And going through that chaos and the pain of that, and the pain of loss. We have a lot of loss our last few years. And so again, I know we're just kind of hinting at all this, and we will get into these stories. But, for Lauren and I, we really felt kind of emerging into this podcast of just kind of beginning to speak on what we've learned from the chaos of this 8 years, and because we continue to yield to the winter season in it all, and I love the fruit. I'm just starting to see. I feel like I'm just starting to see little plants spring up in this ground that has been, I felt, barren for 8 years. And I have to tell you, living in going from that high to living with nothing to show for your life on the outside, and then hearing that kind of criticism from people and judgment, that was crazy too. So Lauren and I, we just have a lot of waves that, again, we will get into as this unfolds. But
also even too, yes, there has been a lot of pain. Yes, there has been a lot of different things that we came up against that I didn't even think. I was like, I never expected this is what my life would have, things that could have happened in my life or things that could have happened. But sometimes it would take a long time, but we would get to the point of going, how can we use this so we become the best versions of ourselves in this time? Yep. And it's I know you can look at it well, you should have just gone back to music then instead of living out this, whatever it was. But once again, I'm a firm believer in the timing of life.
We knew it was winter for a reason.
We knew it was winter. We knew it was it was time to be hidden. It was time to work on different things. It was time to just be still. And it's interesting because it's been 8 years. And the first time we felt like we could do something again is when we had this dream of maybe we could talk. Like it was the first time.
The first time was what, August 2nd, 2020. Because Sarah's been asking us for years, and we're like, Sarah, not yet. We're not ready. I knew I wasn't ready.
Because for me, and to say this about y'all's the past 8 years, the first time you guys could feel to do something publicly, because you guys were doing some like so much behind the scenes, so much, and that was the whole reason that I kept coming to you guys, was because I was like, every single time we meet up, you guys are like a waterfall of information and knowledge and wisdom and all these things that I was like, this is better than like going to a doctor and saying, what do I do for this? It's like, because you had all this knowledge then on every aspect of a person, the inner, the outer, the vitamins, just everything. And I'm like, this is insane. Like, this is more than like a college education or a master's in all this or a doctorate. Like, there's so much.
I do feel like I got a PhD in wholeness.
You really did. You guys
emotionally,
really did.
Spiritually, and physically.
Because you guys were studying all these areas for so long, really hungry for that. And so...
And then the life chaos that came along with, and it was always perfect.
Yes.
Like, I know it's crazy to say, people are listening going, oh my gosh, all this stuff you've gone through. But I have to say, I can look at it and despise it. Despise the pain of watching our dad, journeying with our parents on that and watching him go through the stroke or my injury or the chaos of rejection and pain and being kicked out in the name of Jesus of people's lives and going through all that. And yet it perfectly aligned with my desire for wholeness. The chaos of it was somehow the perfect, it's like that, unless the seed goes into the ground and dies, it doesn't bear fruit. And seeds require a level of under the ground death, kind of the you don't see growth for a long time, and it's okay. And I learned patience, and I learned to be kind to myself in the journey and to be patient with myself and to not despise. I remember one time I was so upset and I was like, Mom, like there's just, she's the one I always run to with everything. I'm like, there's just so much crap in my life. And it was just really cute. She's like, Alyssa, you can either use crap to, just stink up your life, or you can use it as fertilizer to grow these seeds you've planted. And a lot of times we look at this manure, whatever, this fertilizer and go, oh, get rid of it if I would just get rid of it. And I realized in that moment she was right. I could use it to put in this garden of these seeds I was trying to grow of wholeness and joy and peace, and let it work into the core of my life, into the core of who I am, and let it grow me into, I believe, a version of me now that I'm more confident, I'm happier than ever. And I feel like even with this podcast, it's a first step of many for us, of just stepping out and telling our story. And I know a lot of other people are in that season as well. So, it's
been a roller coaster.
It has been a ride,
and we're amazing. Still on it. I'm proud of us that we had the courage to step away, because I was 27 and I'm like, oh yeah, I can step away from fame. Like who does that? Like to me, I go like, I look back and I'm like, that was a hard step. But the fact that I took that step because there was an invitation in my heart and with the divine and with God of going, but there's more if you have the courage to step into it. And that sometimes requires a sacrifice. And the sacrifice was letting go of everything we knew to step into more. And to me, I'm proud of that. And I know, I feel, it was sad to lose all the connection with, with our fans and with playing shows. And like Barlow Girl was so fun. It was so much fun. And I knew that there was even a cost on the people that were so connected to us on that side too. But I'm so grateful for everybody that's still like actually excited to still hear us talk. After 8 years, so many of you guys have been so gracious of just.
It's been an overwhelming process for me. I'm so grateful.
Full of gratitude for everybody that like loved us then and like is giving us like, you know, a chance to listen to us now. And it's been a beautiful journey, and we're excited to be here again and like answer questions and connect with you guys because that's what it's all about. I mean, I love it. So yeah. So you guys, we want to start doing this maybe every month because I think it's really fun because I mean, I just love hearing from everybody. I mean, honestly, when I was looking through these questions, so many were just making me tear up. Yes. So many of you guys said the most beautiful things.
And like we said, we're going to hit on the deeper ones the next few podcasts and kind of put those together and really hit on some of the heavier topics.
Yes, that deserve an entire podcast in and of itself.
These are great questions.
But we're probably going to do one of these a month. So get ready for more questions because we just love hearing from you guys.
So send in more questions. It's on our Instagram.
Yes. We'll put it up when it's time.
Yep.
So yeah. So thank you guys.
Thanks for your questions.
Have a good week.
Bye. Bye.